Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to be speaking about my approach to exercise and programming, which is obviously a key component of any health and fitness program. Just going to dive right in. I just thought I'd start by sharing a bit of my background and a bit of my story, and then get into it. So for me, when I was in my teens, I grew up playing sport. Coming from South Africa, I played mainly cricket and rugby. Obviously, gymmed quite often, and my goals were, typical teenager goals, is to get bigger, to look good, have that six pack, it was good. But sort of once I'd reached that point where I was happy with the way I looked and my body, there was no more motivation to train, and to maintain you don't really have that much motivation, right? So I sort of lost my way a bit, and then I'd get back on track, lose my way again, get back on track, and sort of repeat that process for several years. And then fortunately I managed to come across CrossFit, and I have to credit CrossFit for reigniting my passion for the health and fitness industry, and just for wanting to be fitter, stronger, healthier, better. And so once I sort of got really plugged in, I really haven't looked back ever since. And so that's sort of a little bit of background and context as to where I find myself now and the reason for my methodology and my approach. And so CrossFit's methodology is constantly varied functional movements at high intensity, right? And it's about increasing your work capacity across broad time and modal domains. And simply that means just getting better across various time frames and exercises, from, your 100-meter sprint through to a marathon, or from a 1 rep max to how many pull-ups I can do in a minute, or how many squats I can do in a minute. Like, it's just across the board, like getting better and improving your work capacity across all of those aspects. And that's the approach that I like to take. It caters for the general population, and it's about training for the unknown and the unknowable, right? If you're faced with an emergency, a situation that you need to deal with then and there, you can't say, oh, just hang on, wild lion. Like, can I just get fitter and stronger before you try to attack me? Like, you need to be prepared then and there. And that's sort of what CrossFit is for. And that's what it was developed for, which was like first responders and the police force and so on and so forth. And so that's generally what most people are going to fall into in that category. And it's from carrying groceries to gardening to playing with the kids. Like, there's a whole bunch of things that we need to do on a daily basis, and this sort of training is going to complement that. And that's where I find myself now. Like, I'm not wanting to be competitive. I'm not a competitive sportsman or athlete, but I want to get better. And the reason that I go to the gym now is to get better at certain workouts, or to improve my skills, or to learn new skills, and just to get better, right? And that sort of challenge, that daily challenge, is what keeps me coming back for more, right? Because there's always something that I can improve on. There's always something that I can get better at. There's always a weakness that I can attack, or a strength that you can magnify, right? And so that in itself makes me adhere to the program and gives me longevity, so that in 20, 30, 40, 50 years time, if I'm still around, I will still be training and still loving my training and want to be training, right? And I think that's ultimately the goal, and finding that sweet spot. And so when we come to our programs, or, what we're doing, of course, it needs to be specific and personalized, but there is sort of a general framework, if you will, that we can work within that's going to benefit most people. Simply put, it's about applying the correct stimulus for the desired adaptation, right? You're looking for a specific result, and so you need to create that stimulus through training to achieve that desired result. And so, yes, you're going to gain muscle, or you're likely to gain muscle, you're likely to lose fat, you're likely to look better and look good, right? And that's a byproduct of this type of training, or this approach, I would say, but that's not the focus. And it's simply for the reasons that I've mentioned before this. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying my approach is this, and that's sort of the outcome. So, right, of course, it's important to consider each person's goals, their current fitness level, their weaknesses, their strengths, their limitations. But there's always an option for everyone, right? Every exercise is scalable. Every person has the ability to do something to get closer to that goal, right? If you want to achieve a muscle up, for example, there's certain progressions that you can apply to eventually get there, right? And so this approach is for everyone, right? It's suitable for everyone, whether you're wanting to just, like I say, become generally prepared for life, GPP, or if you're training for a specific event, of course, then the approach is more specific, but the methodology remains the same. And so for me, like, that's my goal. Like, I just want to help people achieve their goals, get better, prepare for life, prepare for anything that life may throw at you, and you can take it on, right? And not be afraid, or you can feel confident and trust that the training that you've done is preparing you and has prepared you for what you're about to encounter, or what you could encounter. And so, yeah, that's just a brief overview of my approach and, you know, my beliefs surrounding exercise and programming. As always, if there's anything that you would like help with, or you have any questions, or you need some advice, or you want to work together, please do leave a comment, or feel free to email me directly. My direct email address will be in the description of this video. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen, and I appreciate your time and your attention.